Namaste. I'm JV'n, Dr. ANUPAMA GOYAL. I'm working as Associate Professor in Botany in Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. Today I am delivering my lecture on the Camellia sinensis, and this lecture will be beneficial for the students studying in BSc and MSc. So now I begin with my lecture. I am Dr. ANUPAMA GOYAL, Associate Professor in Botany, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University, Jaipur. Here in this diagram, you are seeing a flowering twig of Camellia sinensis. So the botanical name of tea is Camellia sinensis. This is the botanical name of tea. So the students, Camellia sinensis, this is the flowering twig of Camellia sinensis. Now I talk about the tea morphology. So Camellia sinensis, a member of Vitaceae family, is an evergreen tree or shrub that attains a height of 10 to 15 meters in the wild and 0.6 to 1.5 meter when cultivated. So the leaves of tea are light green, short, stalked, coriaceous, and the leaves are arranged in an alternate manner. The leaves are lanceolate, serrate, margin, glabrous. The leaves are glabrous, or they have pubescent beneath, varying in length from 5 cm to 30 cm and about 4 cm in width. Mature leaves of tea are bright green colored, smooth and leathery, while young leaves are pubescent. Flowers of tea are white, fragrant, and the flowers are 2.4 to 4 centimeter in diameter, and the flowers are found in solitary or in clusters of 2 or 4. Flowers bear numerous stamens with yellow anther and produce brownish red capsules. So the fruit is a capsule. Fruit is a flattened, smooth, rounded, trigonous, three-celled capsule. So the student, what is fruit in tea? The fruit is capsule, seed solitary in each, and the size of a small nut. So in this diagram, students, you are seeing the tea plant flourishing very well, having the flowering and the capsule. This picture also shows the tea plant, the morphology of the Camellia sinensis. See the stem and the leaves in this picture. Now I talk what is the botanical name of tea is Camellia sinensis. It belongs to the family Thecaceae. It is the most common non-alcoholic beverage. There are beverages like tea and coffee. So it is the non-alcoholic beverage used by more than 1/2 of the world's population. It is obtained from the dried leaves of Camellia sinensis, a native of Assam or China. Tea plant is a small shrub with leathery, lanceolate leaves having serrate margin, and they are having many oil glands. Now, this is also the tea morphology. A volatile oil, tannin, 13 to 18%, and an alkaloid, thein, are present in tea. Tea leaves, when infused in hot water, dissolve their alkaloid and oil, and the beverage thus resulting in a stimulating effect. If boiled for a longer period, tannin present in the leaves dissolves, making the beverage less beneficial. India is a leading tea exporting country for preparing green tea. the leaves are steamed and dried without fermenting, while for black tea, the leaves are withered, rolled, fermented and dried. So this you have to. Now again, beverages. Tea is an aromatic beverage. So students, tea is an aromatic beverage. It is prepared by pouring hot or boiling water over the cured leaves of Camellia sinensis, an evergreen shrub native to Asia. After water, it is the most widely consumed drink in the world. Some teas like Darjeeling and Chinese greens have a cooling, slightly bitter and astringent flavor, while others have vastly different profiles that include sweet, nutty, floral or grassy notes. Now I talk about the origin and history of tea. Well, tea originated in China, possibly as a medicinal drink. It came to the West by Portuguese priests and merchants who introduced it during the 16th century. Drinking tea became fashionable among the Britons during the 17th century, who started large-scale production and commercialization of the plant in India, bypass a Chinese monopoly at that time. Tea plants are native to East Asia and probably originated around the meeting points of the lands of northern Burma, Myanmar and southwestern China. Chinese legends attribute the invention of tea to Shennong. So Chinese legends attribute the invention of tea to Shennong in 2737 BC. This is also the origin of tea. A Chinese inventor was the first person to invent a tea shredder. The first recorded drinking of tea is in China, with the earliest records of tea consumption dating to the 10th century BC in India. So, in India, it has been drunk for medicinal purposes for a long but uncertain period, but apart from the Himalayan region, seems not to have been used as a beverage until the British introduced Chinese tea there. The first European to successfully transplant tea to the Himalayas, Robert Fortune, was sent by the East India Company on a mission to China in 1848 to bring the tea plant back to Great Britain. He began his journey in high secrecy as his mission occurred in the lull between the Anglo-Chinese First Opium War in 1839 to 1842 and Second Opium War at a time when Westerners were not held in high regard. So tea was introduced in India by the British. The British brought Chinese seeds into northeastern India, but the plants failed. They later discovered that a different variety of tea was endemic to Assam and the northeastern region of India, and that it was used by local tribe Sip Hung. Using the Chinese planting and cultivation techniques, the British launched a tea industry by offering land in Assam to any European who agreed to cultivate it for export. Now I talk about the cultivation of tea, or first of all, tea harvesting. First of all, we talk about the cultivation. Well, tea is also called as Camellia sinensis. Now, I'm talking about the cultivation of tea. Camellia sinensis is an evergreen plant that grows mainly in tropical and subtropical climates. Some varieties can also tolerate marine climates and are cultivated as far north as Cornwall in the United Kingdom, Perthshire in Scotland, Washington State in the United States, and Vancouver Island in Canada. In the southern hemisphere, tea is grown as far south as Hobart on the Australian island of Tasmania and Waikato in New Zealand. So what is done in tea cultivation? Tea plants are propagated from the seed and cuttings. About 4 to 12 years are needed for a plant to bear seeds, and about 3 years before a new plant is ready for harvesting. In addition to a zone 8 climate or warmer, tea plants require at least 127 centimeter of rainfall a year and prefer acidic soils. So for the cultivation of soil, acidic soil is preferred, and about 127 centimeter of rainfall is required. Many high quality tea plants are cultivated at elevations of up to 1,500 meter above the sea level, while at these heights the plants grow more slowly and they acquire a better flavor. Now I talk about the harvesting of tea. Well, tea picking. And tea picking, we are talking about the tea picking. Tea is almost exclusively hand picked. We pick the tea leaves by hand. In most parts of the world, the tea picking is done by the women. So women do the work of tea picking. Tea leaves have to be picked carefully. If the tea leaves are too big, they are too tough, and if the tea leaves are too small, they are not economically viable. The tea pickers pluck new and tender flesh, 2 leaves and a bud. The tea pickers pluck new and tender flesh means 2 leaves and a bud. These flushes appear every 7 or 8 days in hot climates and around twice that long in cooler climates. Generally, the buds near the end of a branch are of best quality. Lower quality ones are found further down the branch. The flushes are flung over the shoulder of the pickers into the baskets strapped onto their heads and backs. Good pickers pick around 160 pounds of leaves a day, from which about 40 pounds of finished tea is made. Freshly picked leaves weigh about twice as much as correctly dried tea leaves. Skill and experience are needed to accurately judge their condition. It is difficult to produce a high quality tea. Some that do pick just 1 bud and 2 leaves from a single twig. Now I show you the picture. In this picture, the women are picking the tea leaves. So this picking of the tea is generally done by women. And now 2 principal varieties of tea are used. One is Camellia sinensis variety, which is used for most Chinese, Formosan and Japanese teas, and Camellia sinensis variety Assamica, used in most Indian teas but not Darjeeling. Within these botanical varieties, many strains and modern clonal varieties are known. Leaf size is the chief criterion for the classification of tea plants, with 3 primary classifications being Assam type characterized by the largest leaves, China type characterized by the smallest leaves, and Cambodian type characterized by leaves of intermediate size. So now students, I will end my lecture of tea by saying there are classification of tea. One is the Assam tea, and it is characterized by the largest leaves. Then there is the China type, and there is the Cambodian type. A tea plant will grow into a tree up to 16 meters if left undisturbed, but cultivated plants are generally pruned to waist height for ease of plucking. Thank you for hearing me patiently. Next time we will talk again about tea.